It is Monday, September 16th, 2024, just a year and a few months from Carolina selecting Bryce Young as the #1 overall pick in the NFL. Fast forwarding to now, and he is now benched in favor of veteran Andy Dalton. Now, while I believe this is a short-term answer, and maybe even necessary, there are very much huge concerns with the former #1 overall pick if this is in fact already the end of his career. Now, that may be just an exaggeration, as this guy is still in his early 20s. If you look at him, this is a man that looks absolutely defeated, overmatched, overwhelmed, and he is surrounded by a team that is doing him no favors. Given everything that we just mentioned, is it too soon to label Bryce Young a bust? What exactly happened and how exactly did we get here? Bryce Young was selected #1 overall in the 2023 draft with a bit of controversy as Carolina traded up to acquire him, giving up their first round pick for next year, which is 2024, among other draft capital and DJ Moore. On top of all of this, Young was selected ahead of the likes of CJ Stroud. When you fast forward to Young's rookie career, especially when you compare it to Stroud's, it's not that spectacular, unfortunately. Tossing 11 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions, just over 2,800 passing yards, but he was sacked a staggering 62 times. He had the third worst QBR and the worst passer rating, despite the team ranking 4th in defense, which included 3rd against the pass and 23rd against the run. All of this culminated in the Panthers having the worst record in the NFL. The Panthers had nothing going for them. Your best pass catcher in 2023 was Adam Thielen, who was now maybe 4 or 5 years removed from his prime. Unfortunately, the Panthers, who gave away their first round pick to the Bears, had become a #1 overall pick that they couldn't use. So with that, and the fact that they gave up more draft picks on top of this, there was no hope that the Panthers could improve, at least through the draft. In free agency, you did upgrade somewhat in wide receiver by adding Deontay Johnson from the Steelers. Still, with a year under your belt, you'd think you'd want to see some signs of your young quarterback taking a step in the right direction. That has not happened to this point. After 2 games, the Panthers have been blown out in games against the Saints and against the Chargers. In these 2 games, they've been outscored 13-73, with Young having a league worst 44.1 passer rating and a completion percentage of just 55.4, while tossing 3 interceptions to no passing touchdowns. So given that there hasn't really been significant improvement with your franchise quarterback, and the fact that you gave up so much to get this guy, it is a dark road ahead for Carolina Panthers fans going forward. It is not an exaggeration to ask if this may be the worst team of all time this early on. Maybe the Panthers can turn it around, but it'll take a hell of a lot of coaching that has to come from someone who is unproven as of yet. While I believe it is the right call to put Young on the bench, it is a worrying sign of what's to come for this franchise. Young does not look like he is happy to be there. Young is getting beaten, battered, and like I said, this team is not doing him any favors whatsoever. There are a handful of plays that I can think off the top of my head where he's immediately getting rushed. Now, can the Panthers turn this all around?
No.
I mean, they do call it any given Sunday for a reason, but it is looking like it's very unlikely. I'd like to think that Bryce Young still has hope if he could get some sort of weapons, if he could get a somewhat decent team around him, but it's not looking like that, and it's gonna get worse, I believe, before it gets better. Maybe a fresh start is necessary for Bryce Young. Maybe some team is willing to take him as a backup in a similar way that they've done with Zach Wilson, or they tried to do with the Jets, Zach Wilson. And that's another talking point that I did want to bring up. Maybe this is another sign that if your team is awful, like absolutely bottom of the barrel awful, maybe you're not doing your quarterback any favors by throwing him in there. Of all people to defend this kind of claim, you have to look at Robbie Chosen, who said this about Sam Darnold.
I will say this with Sam though, I feel like his development was all messed up coming into the league. Look at Pat and look at Lamar, they ain't play right away. I don't feel like Sam should have played right away.
He does make a decent enough point. If your team is, well, the you are not going to do them any favors by throwing them out there. Not every quarterback is going to turn out to be CJ Stroud. So when you combine everything and the fact that he's compared to a guy like Stroud, Young's career is already looking bleak. I don't know if he will be able to turn it around. I think it'll take the right coach or right system, but I don't think he's going to do it in Carolina. So with that, I want to say it's not an exaggeration, but Bryce Young may be a bust already in the NFL. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you believe Bryce Young is a bust in the NFL? That's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to thumbs up this video. Be on the lookout for the next video coming out this Friday. Until next time, y'all. Shoot, boy!